Welcome to the god of science. All hail physics. Just kidding. Let's just get this started off. Physics, one of the greatest subjects in the whole universe. So in the next 7 episodes, I will be basically talking about physics and how it works. But first of all, a general overview of physics. Now, what the heck is physics? Now, physics, of course, as you've already known, is a branch of science, and it talks about how the universe works, like absolutely everything that we know about it, like physical motions. Basically, that's where the name comes from. Now, physics you can basically simplify into several things. You can talk about it. It can split into matter and energy. And how do you do physics? To be honest, well, firstly, like any other science subject, you start by asking questions like, what's that big ball? What's that big yellow ball in the sky? And why does the sun always rise in the same spot at this time of year? Every year. And that must be how the sun got seducing. That's what old people thought. It'll start getting cold soon, so can you two please stop pondering about the gods and help with the harvest? Well, pretty much that's what ancient people seem to do. They basically thought that everything was the gods. I mean, the original humans, like the ancient humans, thought every hero was supposed to be a god. Very perfect and flawless. Well, as time developed, it became, our heroes became a bit flawful too. But I'm not here to talk about literature. I'm here to talk about physics, also not one of my most favorite subjects. It is one of the most important subjects. Personally, I like chemistry. Now, technically, you could call the first physicists the philosophers. Now, the first philosophers might just be people who thought, all you can think about is rays. And wait, is that all you can think about? A rays? And yeah, that is weird. And then from there, loads of other people started thinking about physics. And then we started to branch out into science. And eventually, we even came into the mathematics. Now, people didn't really care if they were called mathematicians or physicists, because as far as I cared, math and science were basically the same thing. Newton didn't care if he was thought to be a mathematician or a scientist, because in his time, math and science were basically inseparable things. Also, later on, people started getting worrying about more, and people started hating, like Michelangelo, he hated being called an artist, he liked to be called a sculptor, especially insulted if he was called a painter. What a grouch. And just like that, some people nowadays actually very much like the fact that I'm a physicist, not a chemist. I'm not a biologist. I'm a physicist. I'm sure I'm a scientist, but I'm a physicist. And if someone mistakes them for being a chemist just because they did some chemistry, I'm a physicist, and just because they're known for chemistry. Yikes. Now, of course, the first people are philosophers, and most of the people we know are basically Greeks. Also, of course, not all Greeks are also the first one to ask these questions. Also, the ancient Chinese and the ancient Indians, and later the Middle East, and nowadays in the Western field. Also, these guys were more religious first. I mean, Hans Christian Olstern, you might know him for other reasons. Also, he did show the link between electricity and magnetism. And physics is everywhere. Whether you like it or not, it's literally everywhere. So deal with it. So what do physicists do? They're basically the people who ask questions. Then they're the ones who test it, the hypothesis, their guess, and then they're the ones who try loads of other things. Of course, it includes equations and physics, and loads of other things, which is kind of the annoying things part, and you will probably not enjoy it, especially when we get to this part. Yikes. And I haven't studied that kind of advanced math yet, so yeah, that's where we are. So that's pretty much where I am. And that's pretty much what physics is. A branch of science where you ask questions about the universe and how it works. And it does nothing to do with chemistry and biology. Sorry about that. But it does link with them, because science itself is physics, chemistry, and biology. Physics cannot work without a bit of chemistry, and biology cannot work out without physics and chemistry at all. If you want to know chemistry, you need to know a little physics. If you want to know biology, you need to know a little physics. Well, if you want to know physics, then you're trying to explain chemistry and biology. So that's why lots of people like to be physicists. So I would like to be a chemist. So that's all I have for you guys. So until next time, Sean out. Episode 1 starting soon. See ya.